This weekend, the Sports Car Club of America returns to America's National Park of Speed, Road America. Across 2 grueling days of competition, 23 champions will be crowned in an event unique in motorsports. For over 400 drivers, a season's toil culminates in this single event with a chance to earn a coveted gold medal and the title of national champion in the 62nd edition of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco. The venue is Road America. The event, the 2025 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Sunoco. Live coverage presented by Mazda. Hi everybody, Ryan Marine, Tom O'Gorman with you. It's Hayward Wagner down in the pit lane. And buckle up because we're about ready for controlled chaos called Spec Miata. One of the most popular classes in all of SCCA, and for good reason. Close competition, thrilling battles. We're about to see all of that unfold with a national championship on the line. Tom, your excitement level as we get ready to go.
Well, who can't help but lean forward when Spec Miata hits the grid? I think this is when the fences fill up just a little bit more, if not the most of any race at the Runoffs, and I'm sure the live stream also just picked up a couple hundred viewers because you just can't help but watch one of the best spec racing classes that we have. And the reason is it's always so unpredictable, the racing is always so tight, and it's just one of those classes that even when it's calm, it's still chaotic, as you mentioned. Controlled chaos in Spec Miata.
Just a couple of years ago, we had co-champions because it ended in a dead heat. Will it happen again? Well, seems unlikely, but you never know. It is Spec Miata. And down on the grid, it's our own Hayward Wagner. Let's let us know what the details are. What are you chasing down in the Spec Miata grid?
Well, guys, I can't tell you how happy I am to tell you that this is a happy, fun, excited grid. Last year we were down here. We'd had a major incident in qualifying involving Jim Drago, Danny Stain, and it just really had a hard feeling here in grid. We're back a year later, and Danny's here with us. Jim's on site this weekend. Danny, how does it feel to be back at the Runoffs?
It's actually quite overwhelming, Hayward. The support and the family and the feel from all of my friends who are here on the grid, but in all of the classes, all of the SCCA officials, really overwhelming. On the other hand, within a moment I got involved in the Spec Miata man drama, so I really feel at home. And to see so many of my friends near the front is really a very special feeling.
Well, it's very good to have you back home here at the Runoffs. It's great to see you here. I know it's been a tough road to recovery. I know you want to be in this race so bad, but what are you looking forward to seeing in this race?
First thing, I'd love to see a race that stays green for the entire race, and there's hard, fair, clean racing for the duration. We know what these drivers are capable of. They're all talented people, and if they can just stay on the track, stay together, it's going to be an exceptional race. It's going to be separated by thousandth of a second.
Well, I want to take a look at the back of our pole sitter's car. This is Chuck Batutis on pole. He is carrying the deck lid from Danny's car that was in the incident last year. That's probably the only part of the car that was straight. Chuck took it off that car, put it on his car, and has run all year with Danny's deck lid on the back of the car, putting it on the pole here at the Runoffs. This is going to be a special one, folks.
Yeah, that's a really cool gesture, and great to see Danny and Jim here this weekend. That was super scary stuff last year, and they're two of the best that have done this at the Spec Miata level. Wish them both a speedy recovery. Hope to see them back in a race car again soon. Tom, you heard Danny mention the Spec Miata man drama, and we've had plenty of it over the course of this. I mean, we didn't even have a grid an hour ago. There were still things being sorted through. Take us through all of the drama behind the scenes.
Exactly. I'll try to set the stage as quickly as I can, but this abbreviated qualifying format for the Runoffs, only 2 days. Day 1 was about 10 to 15 degrees ambient temp cooler than day 2. So day 1 was very, very important to get a lap time in the books. And on day 2, there was a little bit of a scuffle on the track because a bunch of our contenders waited to go out until about halfway through the warm-up lap. They went out slow enough that half the cars that are also in contention ran across them on their first flying lap. The stewards weren't really appreciative of what they watched, and they decided to dock all of those cars that caused the holdup a couple of laps of their qualifying times, which shuffled the grid wildly for about the last 24 hours or so. But that was appealed by 7 of the 8 drivers, and the stewards relooked at everything and they decided maybe that shouldn't stand. So that is now back to what the grid was originally intended to be based on all those lap times. That's the short version, and all that means, even though the provisional grid up to about 35 minutes ago said Nick Bruni would be starting on pole, Charles McTudis, Chuck, is back on the pole position officially, let's say, here in Spec Miata. Other cars that would have been affected, Frankie Barroso, Max Stallone, Matt Stretch, all of those cars were supposed to start well down the order until literally minutes ago. They're back in the top 4. Nick Bruni, who was published as the provisional pole sitter up until recently, is now going to be starting 5th. But I think we can all kind of fast forward off of that topic to the fact that Spec Miata always has big shuffles. This is a class where track position matters more than many because, yes, the drafting is important, but there's always 5 or 6 other people going for your track position. So we're going to see position changes in every braking zone likely. We're going to see a lot of people trying to work their way forward. There's also some teams that were further up on the grid until recently that are now further down, closer to the bottom of the top 10 or further out. As we take a look at those cars here on the grid, we've walked outside the top 10 now, and they're still contenders. So as we say, anything can happen in Spec Miata, but there's already been plenty of that.
Well, it's always unpredictable, but especially so when you come to Road America. 14 turns, 4 miles around, 3 really long full throttle sections. You can't really call all of them straights, as you can see here on the map. The run from 3 to 5, certainly out of the kink and down to 12, and then what truly is a straightaway 14 to 1. High speed where the draft really comes into play in a big way. Lots
of drafting in Sector 1. This is also where we'll see some choreography to keep airflow through the engines of these Miatas as they're drafting so closely. You have to keep the engine temps down, but a great passing opportunity at turns 1 and 3. Also going to be really intense at the green flag. Then we get the big drafting zone into the braking zone for turn 5, just clearing 110 miles an hour in these first and second generation Miatas. Into the handling section, up the hill at turn 5, through turn 6, flat out through turn 7, another passing opportunity at 8, nearly flat through the carousel, maybe flat in fact in these cars, then flat through the kink for sure into the braking zone of turn 12. This is potentially the last passing opportunity, but usually it's decided after turn 14 up the hill at the checkered flag.
So much to play for with a national championship on the line, and the venue is a picture-perfect one, America's National Park of Speed. Cars are rolling for the formation lap. We're just a few moments away from the green flag at the Spec Miata National Championship race. We'll have the green for you when we come back.
Okay, track day checklist. Let's go. You got your gloves, your helmet, water, snacks, sunscreen, your car is prepped and ready to go. Ugh, forgot your track day insurance, didn't you? If you want to be covered for the whole value of your car, you need high-performance driver education coverage through Hagerty. We'll get you a policy for track days, time trials, and more in less time than it took you to apply that sunscreen. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Shopping for tires used to really rub me the wrong way. That was before I went to TireRack.com. TireRack's tire decision guide made it easy to find the right tires. Talk about secret sauce. You might ask, well, you bought them, now how are you gonna put them on? No problem. TireRack has thousands of recommended installers. I chose one that does mobile installation. A technician brought the tires right to my house. He's installing them now.
Almost finished, Herb.
Take your time. I'm just marinating. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
32 Spec Miatas on track, ready to go. This is how they'll line up for the 2025 National Championship. On the tire rack pole position, Charles McTudis with Francisco Barroso alongside. Max Stallone, the impressive youngster, starts third next to Matt Stretch. Those four all reinstated to those qualifying positions after a appeal to a qualifying penalty. Starting 5th, Nick Bruni was supposed to be on pole until those penalties were appealed. Ryan Maloney starts 6th, Nick Leveroni in 7th, and Bobby Gossett lines up 8th. Into row 9, Tyler Quantz and Elevan Goulart, former champion in the class. Tyler Brown and Kyle Greenhill starting 11th and 12th. Sean Farwig and Sean Noonan make up an all-Sean row number 7. And it's Tom Brown and Shane Sullivan starting in positions 15 and 16. William Wallace from Paso Robles, California starts next to Samantha Silver in positions 17 and 18. Andrew Devoto and Center Smith will start in 19th and 20th today. Jackson Wolde and Domenico Liucci will start in 21st and 22nd. Then it's Jonathan Davis, the veteran out of Ohio, next to David Moreno. Back in 25th, Brett Kowalski was supposed to start there. Will Dodd as well. Zachariah Rosenberg and Ellie Gossett, 28th and 29th. Keegan Bosch and Dan Harding, with Brad Williams set to start at the back. And as you see, there have been a few changes even since the grid that I was given has been given out, and so some additional changes to it, with Kowalski set to start back in 32nd. He had a big incident earlier in the week, and if he is running, it's in a backup car because he ended up on his lid in a really strange situation a couple of days back.
Yeah, had a wheel failure on one of these heavy curbs at Road America, ended up kind of launching himself over the tire that fell off the car. He's in a borrowed flat-out motorsports car that looks just like Nick Leveroni's, who starts there on your left side of the screen with the orange headlights, but starts at the back. He was picked by SCCA.com to win this class. Now gets to go for the hard charger. Maybe can get up towards the top 10. Who knows? Green flag coming.
Take a deep breath. Get your refreshment of choice. And how about this? Even before this start, is that the pole sitter
it is
with
McTunis.
An issue? Wow, carrying the Danny Stain rear deck lid, but he will not see the green flag. Unbelievable. That changes this up significantly. Max Stallone takes his spot on the inside of the front row, and suddenly he has the field in tow into the acceleration zone. Francisco Barroso gets a great jump on the outside there, gets a good push from behind as well. Here comes the field for the first time on lap 1 of 13. The Spec Miata National Championship is underway.
Huge move from Tom Brown, the 27, black and blue, or blue and silver in the background, but they're going to stream through turn 1 way outside track limits. They just have to let each other back on, and they're clean and free through turn 1, 3 wide down into turn 3. In the middle of the pack, that 07 also with a fantastic start, but from third, Max Stallone inherited the front row, and he leads the way.
Not the position he expected to be in when this day began. You go through all the scenarios in your head before the race, and I'm not sure he could have envisioned this one, but he's taken full advantage, leading this field of Spec Miatas now down the hill. This is turn 4, which is a little kink, then down the hill to turn 5. Great passing opportunity in a really strenuous braking zone.
Pretty nice and tidy. Nick Bruni looking to the inside of the orange and blue at the apex of turn 5. Then the big scrum, little bit of brake lockup from the 02 in the background. Sean Farwig holding up the inside lane. They're going to get a better run around the outside. Elevan Goulart now trying to hold the position. They're the first cars side by side. Bruni still struggling just a little bit to get in line with Bobby Gossett. Man, this is intense stuff. Everybody dropping dirt in the dry grass here at Road America.
A big sideways moment mid-pack. Everyone able to gather it back up. Here now through the hurry downs for the first time at speed, and it's Stallone in the 103 still showing the way. Battle starting to break out a little further back in the pack, side by side. Elevan Goulart, father of the reigning national champion, involved in that tussle in the mid-pack. Of course, his son Ethan not here to defend his title, the only defending national champion not back to defend the crown this year.
And in fact, no one from last year's podium is in the grid this year, so we're going to have a totally fresh podium this year's runoffs. Things finally getting single file as we come through the carousel and into the kink for the first time. The 55 pops out for a little bit of view. That's Center Smith with the Sneaky Moose Motorsports crew. Those cars running, I think, 8 deep this weekend from that team. Ooh.
Someone was off the pace, exiting the kink, and immediately ducked to the inside, and the field started to stream on by. In the meantime, 3 wide momentarily in the run down to Canada Corner, and someone's off. That's Goulart, former national champion.
Well off. It almost looked like something left front was unhappy about that car. We'll try to get a view on it in the next couple corners if we can, but a big heartbreak. That's going to be a long way to come back if he can get resumed on pace. It's another car that had some drama in qualifying.
Here
Taking
he
a
is.
peek. Yeah, it looks like Goulart's not satisfied with something in the left front of that car. It looks like it's maybe some active camber issues, and he's going to pull. No, he's going to pull in line and keep going.
Four-time national champion, including a 2011 Spec Miata title that he won right here at Road America, but a difficult start to his pursuit of a second Spec Miata crown. Lost a ton of track position and might have some damage to that race car. Field comes through, and it's Stallone, Barroso, Stretch, Maloney, and Gossett, the top 5, with Leveroni, Bruni, Greenhill, Farwig, and Brown, the top 10. Someone's made a trip to the pit lane and is rejoining the fray, but much delayed. You can hear that in the background. Looks like a few drivers did not take the start, including Will Dodd, Tom Sager, and Brett Kowalski. I was wondering about Brett. I had heard that he may elect not to partake in that backup car, and it appears that was the case.
Yeah, after those worst conditions on day 2, he was qualified way down in 25th position. Can't totally fault him for not racing a borrowed car from the back of the pack in Spec Miata. 7-car breakaway, all the drivers using every bit of track and more, with one car going for a ride. I think it's the 0-2.
Yeah, that's Varwig, and he was pointing cars by. He has stayed studiously off track, lets the field come through, so that's another car in strife here in the early stages. Wow.
Looking down, trying to maybe get power again, but that's not a great spot to be. He's only a couple of feet away from a great pull-off, but he just couldn't quite make it up that hill. Another one of those Sneaky Moose Motorsports cars, any of them with the kind of top one color and the side a different color, you can take a guess it's that, but the one that does not count to that description is that number 5, Ryan Maloney. This car has been really fast this weekend, has a lot of fans watching on the live stream. I know he's got a lot of experience running the showroom Spec Miata class over in the Mars series in Washington, D.C. area. I don't know that I've seen him in Spec Miata too often, but is showing his strength this year.
Full course yellow is out. Maloney, one of 66 Runoffs rookies here this year, but Varwig with what appeared to be terminal issues. That car is dead stick side of the road and will need to be retrieved. Well, we told you to expect some chaos, and we got it even before the start of the race with the pole sitter pulling out of line, coming to the green flag.
Yeah, that was wild. And the car that you heard accelerating out of the pit lane under our voices was, in fact, the pole sitter, Chuck Matudis, trying to get the car cycled and refired, took back to the track. And Hayward Wagner from the pit lane reporting that as soon as he went full throttle into turn 1, it fell over again. So that car not running right. And here's the view of Tashawn Varwig pulling off the course, very, very aware to stay out of the way and point to the drivers to let them know, I'm not even going to try to come back on, go around, but didn't have power to get up the hill. And you can see the orange cutout just in front. That's going to be a really quick tow. Maybe not even 2 full pace laps here under yellow.
Yeah, hopefully we only lose the 1 lap behind the safety car. The intervention vehicle there quickly. They already have the tow strap attached, and Varwig, in his 4th Runoffs appearance, is going to be towed to safety. So, under the safety car here for the first time in our Spec Miata National Championship race. Back with more from Road America after these messages.
My name is Danny Richardson.
Eileen Blondo.
I'm Ryan Cheek.
I'm Connor Zilish.
I'm from the San Francisco region.
Part of the Central Carolina region of SCCA.
It just fosters the best, not only in me, but in the cars that I can bring.
I grew up around this amazing community that created me for who I am today.
I belong to the SCCA.
I belong to the SCCA.
I belong to the SCCA.
I belong to the SCCA because every time I come to an event, I feel like I'm at home.
So many ways to get involved with the Sports Car Club of America, whether that's behind the wheel in competition or track days, rallying, of course, as well as time trials, but also behind the scenes. And we'd like to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of the volunteers that make the SCCA run, whether that's at an event throughout the course of the year or here at the Runoffs. Could not do it without you. Thank you so much for giving us the gift of your time. allows us to put on a show like this one. It's been a frantic start, Tom O'Gorman, here in Spec Miata, but Max Stallone, who qualified third, but then didn't, and then got reinstated, then ended up starting on pole position when the pole sitter had issues on the pace lap. Despite all of the chaos in that story, he's actually been relatively in control.
Very much so, and he's followed closely by Francisco Barosco, Ryan Maloney, and Bobby Gossett. They had a little bit of a 4-car breakaway, but it was really more of a 7-car breakaway, I'd call it, with Nick Leveroni in the hunt, Nick Bruni, and Kyle Greenhill, who's been the big mover and shaker so far. That car up from 12th on the grid. That's the number 42, kind of copper orange on top, silver on the sides. That car sits in the 7th spot. The big loser, I hate to say, is Matt Stretch, who was going to start 4th, did basically start 3rd, and he's fallen all the way back to 8th as we take a look to the stranded. Once again, Chuck McTutis pulled off at 4 under the Sargento Bridge, driver's left. Heartbreaking.
It is. Heart goes out to him after all the effort that goes into this, and you qualify on the tire rack pole position only to have your race come undone effectively before the green flag. But it opens up opportunities for others. And Max Stallone, keep an eye on this young man, not just in this race, but he's from Austin, Texas. He won the PT Autosport Aspiring Driver Shootout Scholarship. Actually, he was second runner-up in that. I take that back a couple of years ago, but he's been brought under their wing. They've had him running in Toyota GR Cup throughout the course of this season. He was here in the June sprints in preparation for this. This is a driver that a lot of folks think has a very bright future ahead of him. And he showed that at the start, taking control right now, weaving back and forth, and indeed it does appear to be a quick cleanup, so we should be going back to green this time by. With the lights off on the pace car, it's already pulled away, and now Max Stallone with the field under his control.
Hearing quickly from the team behind Matt Stretch that he may be having some fueling issues with the car shutting on and off. That's the purple car, 8th in line. See if that car continues to drop. There may be more mechanical issues defining this 2025 championship.
My goodness. Unbelievable the way this one has begun. There'll be 10 laps to go, and the green flag waves once again, and there it is. Stallone out in front with Barroso giving a push from behind. Maloney, Gossett, Leveroni all fanning out. Right now the fight, though, is on as Maloney pulls to the outside in a bid to take at least the 2nd spot, if not more.
And he's going to sweep the outside confidently. Barroso's going to slot back in line. I think Bobby Gossett might have helped that, facilitate that just a little bit, but it's way more difficult to hold the outside of turn 3 than it is the outside of turn 1. Now Maloney's got to try to make it happen, and that's bottlenecked up. Leveroni and Bruni just behind. Bruni has gotten past Leveroni now. Bruni with the blue and orange, Leveroni with the black and orange, and they're going to go 2 by 2 by 2 down through turn 4 into the braking zone for 5 on this 3rd, officially 4th working lap.
And it is not surprising to see the bumpers locked together, bump drafting a big part of this class. There is real cooperation that's required to extracting the ultimate lap time at a place like Road America in a low horsepower class like Spec Miata. It's still Stallone out in front, but look at that battle, trading a little paint at the apex of turn 5.
Little door donut now for Maloney. They're still 2 by 2 by 2. That's for 2nd back to 7th, and Barroso is not letting this thing go. Maloney around the outside fights tooth and nail. He gets the inside for turn 7, finally gets the inside for a corner, and he's going to take over the point. Bruni's going to try to go with him to the outside for turn 8.
Oh, here he comes now, putting on a strong run, getting to the outside, but will not have the ideal line through turn 8. Still side by side here in the fight for 3rd and 4th. Now the track comes back to him, though, here through the carousel.
And Bobby Gossett's going to go with him in the silver with red headlights. Also keep an eye in the background. The next car, the orange and silver, is the Kyle Greenhill machine that we mentioned, the 42. He's worked his way up now to 6th, I believe, as Nick Leveroni loses a couple of positions in all of that scrapping.
All of this is happening well behind Max Stallone, who has scampered off into the distance. The rest of the top 5, they need to start to get settled in line here if they're going to run him back down. And it looks like they've gotten the message. Everybody nose to tail in a freight train that's roaring down towards Canada Corner. And just like that, with that little bit of cooperation, the gap is completely erased.
That took no time at all, with about 4 Spec Miatas worth of air being pushed out of the way. And you're right, the Wheels America racing car had a little bit of a breakaway started, and now it's just completely evaporated. They're glued together once again. We've evolved past bump drafting in Spec Miata. We just go straight to pushing at about the apex, because that's when they're fastest. Taking a look at Leveroni having dropped back just a little bit in front of Tom Brown, who had that fantastic start and has actually past, I believe, son Tyler Brown has moved up a couple of positions now. Stretch. Oh, he's getting freight trained. Maloney goes to the point.
How about that? Stallone left out to dry as everyone jumped to the outside and formed a line. Now he'll have to try and regain some of that momentum. It's a 4-car breakaway now, leaving the erstwhile race leader behind. To the front, Ryan Maloney showing the way. Battle on for second and third, though, around the outside. Bobby Gossett hanging in tough. Not done yet. Gossett and Bruni. And now also Barroso creeping into the mix. Barroso slots back into third place in the red machine.
Huge move from Matt Stretch down the inside there in the purple car. Now having more shutoff issues. You see the hand flying. Get out from behind me. You don't want to bump into me. As he's continuing, we mentioned having some mechanical issues with that car. Seems to be intermittently shutting on and off. And that was a bold move up the inside, but he couldn't do it. The car didn't have it in it. At the front, Barroso's looking up the inside, and somewhere in that scrum, we missed it, but Gossett went to the top. Bruni slotted back in line at turn 3, but now he's going for it up the inside. They're going to go 2x2 and a 6 yet again.
Piling through all the dust that gets kicked up every time someone drops a wheel at apex or at exit of one of these corners, but you can't afford to lift. Momentum crucial in a class like Spec Miata. Here comes the field now, down through hurry downs. Top 2 in pretty good alignment, but everybody else fanning out close to 3 wide momentarily.
Well, Bruni had to pop out. I think got a little bit deep on the brakes. Didn't want to get into Ryan Maloney, and that caught out Kyle Greenhill. That was a nasty stack up, and that cloud of dust is exactly where we saw an incident in qualifying catch some drivers out. They're going to be a little bit wary of driving into these big clouds of dust for this remainder of the race. But what do? Do you lift and give up the position potentially, or do you drive in and hope that nothing's in there?
Veroni in the middle of this pack here. He's caught out wide in the carousel. That's the black, orange, and blue machine right in the middle of this second pack of cars, but was able to get back inside the train. There's too much ground. How about this run getting put together, though, by Barroso? Started on the outside of the front row, has been in the mix. Been shuffled up and down the order, but that's just Spec Miata racing for you.
And Spec Miata racing, track position is super important. You can be patient, but only to a point, because we mentioned you have drivers trying to take the spot from you all the time. You see that in the top 5 right now, and every time you go side by side, you lose that little bit of opportunity for momentum, and that's how we get these big breakaways. Now Ryan Maloney getting chosen by Bruni and Stallone. They don't have the biggest run this time. It's going to take them all the way down the front straight to get alongside Barroso.
You quickly find out who your friends are when you pull out a line. Either they come with you or they hang you out to dry. In this case, Ryan Maloney had a couple of friends who were willing to go to the party with him, and that shoved him back through into the lead, with Bruni now just behind. Everyone going way wide up and over those curbs there at the exit of turn number 1, but that's kosher here at Road America.
Huge slide for Bruni on entry, really flicked the car into turn 1, lost the momentum down into 3, and that's going to let Barroso get back by. So far, the car that I see that's being the most strategic, though, is Bruni. He's doing a good job to avoid side-by-side action as much as he can, barring that one exchange we just pointed out, and it's still about a 11-car breakaway, all the way down through, I think, William Wallace running in this top group.
Yeah, that's down to 11th. I believe, while it was shown in 11th at least when they crossed the line the last time, but a whole lot could have changed from then to now as Barroso looks to the inside of Maloney. He's able to get to the flank and kind of leans on the silver and blue machine, but it's not enough to get by Maloney. Feisty, not willing to give up the top spot.
Gossett goes for a position as well on the 103 of Stallone. He's going to pick up the 4th position for at least a moment. Kyle Greenhill now taking a peek on Stallone. They're going to slot back in single file. Barroso looks for a little bit of a sight line, not going for the pass yet. And it's actually all the way down to 13th, Ryan, the 131 of Jackson Wolney. Also, that includes Sean Noonan and Wolney. 13-car breakaway at the front of Spec Miata. That's half the field.
Yeah, exactly right. Great parity, as you'd expect in a Spec class, although both the NA and NB variants of the Mazda Miata are eligible. That said, everyone's pretty much gravitated to the NB at this stage.
Spec Miata by name, but not 1000% spec. There are about 4 different power and weight ratio engine packages you can choose to run. Big move around the outside for the teal car. That is a masterfully brave move around the outside of the King through the new grasscrete. Going to try to make it stick.
Yeah, that's a great point. That was not there a year ago, but they've added some extra buffer at the exit of the King for moments like that one. And if you've watched racing here over the course of the 2025 season, there have been a few crashes that did not happen that probably would have been if not for that safety innovation on the part of the folks here at Road America. And that was used to full effect there by Wallace. Let that teal car drift out wide and use that extra bit of pavement. If you could even call it pavement, it's like a mesh almost, and it has grass that grows up through it.
Thought I heard a little bit of lockup underneath our audio there going into turn 1, and it seems that Barroso tried to get a run, maybe Maloney with a small mistake. They're all fanned out going down to turn 1. We're still watching this battle for about 11th, but yes, indeed, Maloney. Wow, it looks like Barroso got Freight Train Bruni going for the lead now into turn 1.
How about that? Takes a peek. That's the orange and blue machine looking to the inside of Maloney, who lets it run wide, opens those hands up to keep his momentum up, and it's enough to hang tough and keep that position locked down at the front of this field. Stallone battling back, early leader of this race, got shuffled down the order, but he's back up to 3rd now.
I think that was Andrew Devoto in the yellow and silver, dropping a couple tires off turn 3. Nice soft ride coming back onto the track, though. And the other mover we missed is Max Stallone. He's shifted from 5th last lap at this point on the track to 3rd. Barroso now trying to come back on Kyle Greenhill. They fan out nearly 3 wide in the braking zone, down from 116 miles an hour to about 50 or so. Huge braking zone with no anti-lock brakes in these Miatas. You have to be so precise.
Especially so when that approach is downhill, maybe a little bit of a camber change involved in that braking zone too. It's a real challenge without ABS to lean on and try and bail you out sometimes. So much dust. Amazing that they can keep their foot down, even going through that big dust cloud, but the moment you lift off, you lose all your momentum and it's game over. Maloney's been super impressive though, Tom. He's fended off a number of challenges up at the front and just seems to be comfortable in a position that you don't always want to be in a Spec Miata race, out leading the pack here before the halfway mark.
I agree. He's been in nice control of this one out of the Maryland area, running with the Mars Series for this year and controlling this race over a former champion very, very nicely. A bunch of contenders that are always in the conversation with Spec Miata, keeping him honest, but he looks calm so far. The frantic one is the red car in the background, Barroso, going for sight lines all the time, trying to pick his spots, work his way back a little bit further forward. Ran 2nd last lap, dropped as far as, I think 7th on this lap as Bobby Gossett goes for a real rough ride coming back on at Canada Corner.
You mentioned cooling at the start of this. When you're running in a big pack like this, ordinarily in October up in Wisconsin, you don't have to worry too much about heat, but actually it's been an unseasonably warm weekend. So how much will they be keeping an eye on the temperatures?
You really have to be careful, and you kind of calculate your risks. You know, if it's the last lap and the temperature gauge is starting to peg, maybe not a big deal, but you're right. It's at 85 degrees ambient temperature right now, as for the first time, Ryan Maloney is not going to control this race. It's his turn to get Freight Train. Nick Bruni goes to the top. We see Stallone worked back into the 2nd position. Gossett and Barroso also going to go through. And they're going to slot back in single file just before the braking point for turn 1. The axle gets loaded and they flick it in.
Amazing how far and how fast you could fall down the order if they get lined up against you. And Ryan Maloney, a Runoffs rookie, one of 60 or so in the field across all the classes this year at Road America, just got to learn that at the hands of a veteran. Nick Bruni got that car back to the front of the pack. 2-time national champion Nick Bruni, using all of that wherewithal to plot a course back to the front of the field.
Down in the braking zone for turn 5. Keep an eye on this 7th and 8th place cars. They're the very back of this one for a moment, though. Side by side, Matt Stretch is going to take over the top spot. Gossett's going to go with him. Bruni gets shoved out, way out onto the grass. And you have to come on cleanly, but everybody anticipates what's going to happen. Barroso's going to pick up a position as well. Bruni going to try to slap back into 4th, but I want to mention Tom Brown in the 27 and Tyler Brown, those inverse liveried cars, I believe father and son, they've come from 11th and 15th on the grid to race into these positions right now. They're going to be fun to watch also if they can stay glued onto the back 3 teammates in the back of this battle.
Special to get to race with and against your dad, but in a race like this where cooperation is so important, father and son very much working together, and it's allowed them to catch the front of this pack. Let's keep an eye on them coming from the back of this leading train. Helps that they're local as well from the Milwaukee region, so know the track well. Sneaky Moose Motorsports is the team name, and they have been appropriately sneaking up to this point. Haven't talked about them a ton, but they're in the conversation with under 6 laps to go.
Saw a little bit of hand motion out of the window, I think, of the Greenhill car. A bit of team communication, perhaps, as they all stay single file on the brakes, this time into Canada corner. Working lap 8 of 13. We still have 16 and a half minutes on the clock. We'll go full distance okay on this one. Barroso, big ride outside Canada corner, but finds his way back on the track, no problem. Bruni still going to be looking to pick up a couple positions to be towards the front as this thing winds down. Stallone controlling this race now.
Who's another Runoffs rookie. Amazing how many Runoffs rookies have run at the front so far in the race, but of course, the money lap isn't for 5 laps yet, and the veterans will know that well. We'll see if youthful enthusiasm or veteran know-how reigns supreme here today. Stallone to the inside, but will lose the top spot. Barroso getting shoved by Bruni alongside and ultimately by. So the red car of Barroso to the point. Bruni follows him through. Stallone is dropped to at least the 3rd spot. He'll drop to 4th because Maloney has been able to get by as well. Not done yet, though. Stallone with a good head of steam and a pusher. Trying to fight back to the inside, down to turn 3. Maloney fends him off, sawing hard on the wheel.
Just got the headlight overlapping the brake light. Stallone on Maloney, but Maloney was smart to go for a little bit of self-preservation, leave the inside lane open, carries the outside, and he's going to have a little bit of an advantage down into the hurry downs at turn 5. They all slot back in a single file for a moment at least. Tom Brown is the only one to pop this lap. He shows the nose on Gossett. They're going to go side by side into 5 for 5th.
Good battles there as Stallone gets shuffled back. Whoa.
Oh.
Hope everyone came out on the other side. I think they did. That was a strange moment there. At the foot of the hill, down exiting turn 5. Francisco Barroso, in his 6th Runoffs appearance, has only finished inside the top 5 on one previous occasion, but has a chance to make some history here today. Goes wide there, kicks up some more dust for the rest of the field to drive through.
It's a war zone on every corner exit as far as the dust in the air is concerned. Things fanning out just a little bit in this top 7 breakaway as the top 8 breakaway, is the top 2. In fact, Barroso and Bruni have made a bit of a break for it. A really fast sector 2 for those 2 drivers this time. They've built up about a 3 or 4 car length lead flat out to the kink. And this is starting to get into the insurmountable territory. It's going to be a little bit tough without teamwork for sure. If Maloney, Greenhill, and now Tyler Brown, I think maybe up to 5th, they have a bit of a gap to cover.
They do. Will these top 2 stay in lockstep, and if so, for how much longer? That becomes the question. And then, can that group, if they do work together, can that group of 5 erase the deficit? We'll find out soon, coming around to get to 4 laps to go to determine the Spec Miata National Champion for 2025. Again, Barroso dips the left sides off the track at quarter exit. But for now, Bruni's content to sit single file right behind, and they do break out in a squabble further back as Maloney again gets shuffled to the back.
And that was Tom Brown that had made his way up to 5th. Kyle Greenhill knew he had a teammate in his mirrors, immediately popped to driver's right and gets a nice bump draft all the way past Maloney. And Maloney's unfortunately going to lose about 4 spots as far as his race is concerned, but that's great news for Greenhill, Brown, Gossett, and now Stallone works his way back through. Whoa, big drift as the cars stack up at the apex. I think Greenhill didn't carry quite as much speed as they were expecting, and it was a big sideways moment for Stallone, a couple cars back.
Best position we've seen Greenhill run in this race, looking for his first Runoffs medal. Best previous result was a 4th back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a handful of years ago. but he's been at the front of these races late in the going in the past. Comes from the Twin Cities, St. Paul, Minnesota. Right now, he is the first in that second group that's trying to keep pace with Barroso and Bruni. Easier said than done, especially as those two seem content for now to cooperate with one another.
Elevon Goulart with a big move down the inside of Center Smith, I think, in the 88 car. Excuse me, Samantha Silver in the 88, another one of those Sneaky Moose Motorsports cars. But Goulart on the recovery drive after that mistake or potential issue down in Canada Corner. The car seems okay, and he's worked his way back towards maybe the top 15 or so, just outside the top 15. Nick Leveroni's also dropped back into that area as they're racing Jonathan Davis and a few others. It's not going to be his favorite runoffs, I don't think, but sometimes it is a lot of fun to be racing your way through the field, picking off as many cars as you can.
No, but Elevon came in here with high hopes of winning another title, defending the family name. His son Ethan won the championship last year. A little bit of a gap at the front that time. Barroso over Bruni. That had opened up to 4 or 5 car lengths. That's really not what those two needed. They needed to stay locked together if at all possible. Let's let the rest of this group close in.
The sector times tell the story that Bruni made a mistake somewhere. He was a half second slower than basically every other car in this top pack, and that's brought everybody back into the conversation. A top 8 run yet again. Frankie Barroso, meanwhile, put in the fastest Sector 2 of the entire race that lap, so that's where that gap comes from. Now Kyle Greenhill, Tom Brown, will they do the teamwork again? Greenhill has the opportunity to pop back to the inside and have his teammate take him even further up this race.
Teamwork has been a big part of the story so far. If you're just joining us, the pole sitter Chuck McTudas had an issue even before the green flag came out, and that set the tone for what has been a wild race up to this point, and it's not done yet. Nick Bruni has erased that gap, and now he's got a freight train lined up behind him as he goes to the outside of the erstwhile leader, Francisco Barroso, and takes the lead once again. The question is, how many will follow him through? It looks like 3 will, so Barroso shuffled back to 4th place.
It's about the average number of cars we've seen be able to make that pass. It's about 3 cars to 1. Every car that gets freight train loses 3 positions. Barroso now falls into the 4th spot. Greenhill, tons of pressure on the back of Bruni, who finds himself at the top just a little bit early, I'd think. But you don't really get to pick at certain points. You just got to take your opportunities. We still have Bruni, Greenhill, Brown, Gossett, Stallone, and Maloney in the conversation, with Tyler Brown bringing up the rear of that top 8 breakaway. A little bit of body damage on our top NA Miata a little bit further back.
I believe it's the only NA Miata that's in the field, actually. There were 2 entered, but only one took the start. How about this situation? In this top 8, only one has won a gold medal at the runoffs before. That's the leader, Nick Bruni. Everyone else desperate to get that gold for the first time. But the difference is Bruni knows how to do it. He's proven that time and time again.
Big argument whether the first one's harder or the next one's harder. And at this point, Bruni going after as many as he can get. You only get 1 chance a year to win the runoffs. Whoa, big bump draft at the apex, pushes Bruni wide and actually gets into the back of Barroso wide, gets into the back of Tom Brown as well. That's going to stack him up and let the top 2 break away yet again in Sector 2.
Yeah, we've seen the top 2 get away before, but as long as the rest of the group stays single file, they can run them back down. However, as we get deeper into this race, it's more and more difficult to stay patient when you're back in that train.
That was very mature, I think, of all the cars that went off. Nobody really tried to take advantage of that other than to just save their own race. And in doing so, they worked together really nicely to not get into each other any more than they already had. Now it's a move for Barroso up the outside. Going to try to get by on Tom Brown down in the Canada Corner.
Here he comes, red car to the outside, looking for the 3rd spot. Leader is Bruni, Greenhill is 2nd, side by side for the final step of the podium. Here, 3rd place up for grabs. Barroso still trying to get that spot through Billy Mitchell Bend, and it looks like he will edge ahead ever so slightly and get back single file. 2 laps to go at the line. Greenhill a little bit wide, but so too are several of the chasing cars. More dust thrown into the air. Just 8 miles left, 28 turns to settle the national championship in Spec Miata here in 2025. Tom Brown working with Francisco Barroso, 4th and 3rd place respectively. And that push is enough to get Barroso back to the back bumper of Greenhill.
Oh, Greenhill with a huge slide into turn 1, though he's going to hold the rest of the field up. Bruni slings it all the way to the grass at the front, and Tyler Brown in the background goes for a big ride as well. Barroso and the rest not able to do anything with that big moment from Greenhill, but we're working the very last moments of this race. These Hoosiers are going to be hot and upset with the 85-degree weather, all the dust on the track. Everybody's sidewalls covered in dirt at this point. Things are getting hairy.
I posed the question, not able or not willing, because again, they might have realized it was in their best interest actually to wait and pick your poison, take your shot at a better opportunity.
That is very true. In the silver lining, you get a little bit of a gap, and now Greenhill has the opportunity to go around the outside of Bruni. They're axle to axle, absolutely overlapped. They're both going to run wide. Barroso gets into the back of them.
Wow, that was a big nudge at apex. You said that is not out of the ordinary in Spec Miata, but you saw the smoke come up, so that was a pretty hefty hit. Tire rub, tire to fender there, but everyone's able to come through on the other side, and at the end of it, it looks like Bruni still hangs on to the lead by the skin of his teeth and a spin at the back. That's the 27. Tom Brown's around.
Didn't see if he got any help with that, but he was really sideways by the time he went off the track, and that's a flat-out corner in these cars. Have to imagine perhaps Maloney involved as he drops back a couple of positions, but Tom Brown has made this one drop from an 8-car battle to a 7-car train, and heartbreaking for a driver that charged from 15th will drop well back outside of the top 20 with that mistake.
And it leaves Tyler Brown without his wingman at this stage as well. Just a lap and a half left. Through the fearsome kink one more time. It's Bruni, then Barroso, who's been up and down like a yo-yo throughout the course of this race. He's back on the upswing. He's on the right trajectory, and he's sizing up Bruni in the run to Canada corner. Not willing or not able, the debate is open, to jump out of line. Sits right behind Bruni with the white flag looming the next time they go by start-finish.
I think Barroso is the scrappy one in the field. He's certainly been the one willing to pull the pin first. We've seen that work really well in years past at other tracks. Like Connor Zilic comes to mind at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 2021. But Road America, it's so much longer with so many more passing opportunities. You got to be careful with making that move too early. They're going to single file up the front straightaway towards the white flag. 14 corners and 4 miles yet to determine this championship.
And it comes down to effectively a 5-car fight at the top of the field. A couple of duos, nose to tail, with Max Stallone trying to keep pace. Nick Bruni looking for another national title. Everyone else in the frame looking for their first. It's Bruni that will lead the field through turn 1 with the 48 of Barroso tucked in behind him, hot on his heels. Then you get to Greenhill and Gossett. They're working together 3rd and 4th. Stallone starting to lose ground to the front runners. Through turn 3 now. Bruni with Barroso using every inch of racetrack and then some. But keeps his foot buried in the loud pedal and doesn't lose any ground. Will they poke out a line yet? Is turn 5 too soon?
No bickering in the top 4 yet. That's dropped the other 3 out of the conversation so far, I say. But Barroso takes another peek to the inside, just getting a sight line. Big bump draft at the apex, pushes Bruni wide. They touched here last lap, and now this time it's a full-on bump. They're going to get a drag race, and I think Barroso is trying to make sure that he doesn't take the position away. I say that, but they're still side-by-side at turn 6.
It looked like he was trying to send some kind of signal. You saw the hand flashing in the windshield. It's anybody's guess what exactly he meant by it, but he does take his spot back second in the train. The engine is Bruni. The caboose is Stallone. Once again, Barroso peeking outside, peeking inside, but not ready to commit to the move.
Bruni so defensive on the way into the carousel, cuts all the distance, making sure no one can get up the inside, runs a little bit wide just past the entry. To square the thing off, you get a bunch of camber right here past the exit, just clearing about 100 miles an hour, flat out through the carousel, and there's still 5 cars that could win this race.
One more time through the kink. Greenhill sits in 3rd. He's been getting some help from Gossett. Stallone has been able to hang tough, led some laps early. He's still in the picture, waiting to pick up the pieces if it should all go amiss for the front runners. Last time to Canada corner, and again, Nick Bruni unchallenged as Barroso content to settle in 2nd place with just a couple corners left.
Patience, but high risk at this point. Does he have enough up the hill to make anything happen? Here we go, Ryan.
Billy Mitchell Bend. Bruni still leads in the Blue and orange, number 6. Barroso, who started on the outside of the front row, looking for his first national championship. It comes down to this, a drag race to the checkered flag for the 2025 Spec Miata National Championship. Nick Bruni out in front, Barroso tucked in behind. He'll pop out of line and come to the line, but it's too little, too late. Nick Bruni, for the 3rd time, is a national champion in the SCCA. 300ths of a second was the gap at the line. His timing and scoring updates. Greenhill, a further 0.3 of a second back, completes the podium in 3rd ahead of Stallone and Gossett. Meanwhile, more positions still up for grabs. Here's another drag race to the line, and it looked to me that the 46 of Liucci just barely edged out the challenge there in what's been another thrilling Spec Miata battle to the checkered flag.
8,000ths between those two for a little bit further back in the pack, but how perfectly managed from Bruni. He threw the thing into turn 14, tried to go for the perfect exit, and he got it. Frankie Barroso needed somebody to push him. If that was going to work, nobody was close enough. Greenhill, Stallone, and Gossett dropped just further enough back for Bruni to hold on to that one. What a great race. All these cars with a little bit of battle wounds, but exceptionally clean, I'd say, as well. Everybody very respectful, especially Barroso, with that gentlemanly move to make sure he didn't capitalize on what was otherwise going to be a pretty big punt. Will still come home with silver medal, and I would say a little bit more dignity than otherwise if he had taken that spot.
Tell you what, Tom, for a moment I thought I called it too soon, because at the last moment, Barroso seemed to have an extra mile an hour I didn't see coming, and he came close, 3/100ths of a second at the line. Unbelievable. I say unbelievable, but it's Spec Miata.
Yeah.
That's what you come here to see. Well, I think the veterans' experience paid off in this one. Bruni, surrounded by others that were looking for their first championship, capitalized on having been there before, never panicked, and by the skin of his teeth takes the crown. Frankie Barroso, a hard-fought 2nd. Kyle Greenhill in 3rd. Stallone, impressive in his runoffs debut, just off the podium in 4th ahead of Bobby Gossett. Tyler Brown does come home 6th. Good charge from Tyler. Ryan Maloney 7th. Sean Noonan, Tyler Quantz, and Nick Leveroni down in 10th. Jonathan Davis, that's been a great charge. He did not qualify well, but just outside of the top 10 with the result of 11th. Jackson Wolney, Samantha Silver, Andrew Devoto, and Center Smith, the top 15.
Davis from 23rd on the grid, Wolney from 21st. Barely getting outside the top 10. That's a fantastic charge forward for those drivers as well, keeping things clean. You see the evidence of a little bit of argy-bargy on the left rear of your national champion's car, but he's not gonna mind. Maybe he'll keep it for good luck in future years. One of the fastest in-laps we've seen too. These drivers can barely slow it down enough to chill and celebrate, huh?
Nick's ready to celebrate. He's ready to talk to Hayward, and he'll get to in just a moment. You're right, though, such good respect. Contact is a part of Spec Miata racing, no doubt about it, but no one ever crossed the line, even with so much at stake. It's what you want to see. Sharp-looking race car, parked where everyone wants to be when you come to the runoffs, and Nick's done this a time or two before. Get that helmet off, and we'll hear from him shortly. But another national championship, and a hard-earned one, as they always are in Spec Miata, and especially so at Road America. Let's hear from our 2025 national champion.
Nick Bruni, there's nothing I want to do right now more than tell you they reviewed the tape and it was a tie, but I'm not going to do that to you. How does it feel to have one all by yourself?
Oh my God, so much emotion. You interviewed me back in 2022, and that was an emotional year. My daughter had 2 open heart surgeries. She's had a 3rd this year, so this one means just as much as that first one. So much emotion, so many people to thank. I can't believe we just pulled that off all by ourselves. I would have loved to have Preston and Jim out there. There might be an asterisk on this one without them on it, but you know what? We brought it home. That was amazing.
We watched Spec Racer Ford. Leader comes through the last turn, gets nipped to the finish. We watched Formula V. Leader comes out of the last turn, gets nipped to the finish. You come out of the last turn. What are you thinking driving up that hill?
I was just thinking, I hope Frankie really likes me. That's all I was thinking. I owe that guy a huge hug back there. He stuck with me, and he made a go of it at the end. He almost got it at the end. I was shocked, and I got a lot to thank for him. He'll never know how much this one means. I just about passed out on that cool-down lap from screaming and crying so much. So, wow, what a finish.
Well, congratulations to you, sir. You get one more lap at this racetrack with a checkered flag.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. Preston took it from me 23, so I get it this time.
No asterisk, Nick. This one's yours, well earned, and you heard the reference to 2023. That race was decided as a dead heat. It went to a photo finish. No one could tell anything between Nick Bruni and Preston Pardus, so they were co-champions that year. Nick also a champion in 2022. No asterisk, no question marks, no one to share the checkered flag lap with here on this one. Congratulations to Nick Bruni. Let's hear from the rest of the podium now.
Frankie, it's pretty common for the silver to be the most disappointed person on the podium. How does this feel?
It's kind of a sliver of emotions, you know. I really wanted that win so bad. I mean, my 6 runoffs and my best finish, so I'm really happy, but at the same time I'm so disappointed for a second, you know. But, you know, got to thank all the Rare Spec boys, IAG Aero Group, American Insurance, and everybody that just, you know, helps me get back to the racetrack, you know. It's been a long week, tiring week, and I can't wait to do it again next year, hopefully.
Well, congratulations on the podium. A very, very big deal for you. Congratulations. And we've got our third place finisher back here. I think you've hugged everybody here. Walked over and there were about 6 people in a group hug, jumping up and down. How does it feel to stand on a Runoffs podium?
It feels amazing. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, thank you for fucking Sneaky Moose. They did an awesome job with these cars. I want to thank my mom and dad, my girlfriend, everybody that supports me. I mean, this is just awesome. I was on 4th place a couple years ago, but I mean, I always wanted to do better, right?
Congratulations to you on the podium.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that 4th place.
Yeah, we're on 3rd place on the podium.
Congratulations.
That 4th place came at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a few years ago. Did one better and gets to take home a medal from the SCCA Runoffs. A special accomplishment indeed. Well, well, well. How about that race? Spec Miata putting on a show, as you're used to seeing. Max Stallone ultimately inherited the pole of this race. That was not part of the plan going in, but Chuck McTunis with an issue coming to the green flag, pulled that car off to the right, tried to get it going, it never could, in a disappointing way for his Runoffs to end. Barroso got a great shove though when the green flag did come out, went to the lead of the race early. Varwig though with an issue, that led to a full course yellow, the only one of the race. When the race resumed, it was Stallone at the point, but the battle was fierce behind him. He did lead the charge into turn number 1. Ryan Maloney really aggressive in the early stages. Got shuffled back, ultimately finished in 7th. That does not tell the full story of his Runoffs. Nick Bruni got to the lead with a little shove from Barroso. Maybe a bit too much of a shove, but they continued on. It's not the last time the two would make nose-to-tail contact. Late in the going, the 27 goes for a spin, and Tom Brown dropped down to 16th. But at the line, it was close. It was a nail-biter, but by 0.03 of a second, Nick Bruni claimed his 3rd SCCA Runoffs National Championship, and the tears say it all. A thrilling result in Spec Miata, and so much more still to come at America's National Park of Speed. Our live coverage of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Sunoco, coverage presented by Mazda. Stick with us, more to come across Hagerty Race Days here at Road America.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Hagerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, all for less than a set of race tires. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Shopping for tires used to really ruffle my feathers. That was before I went to TireRack.com. TireRack made it easy to identify the right tires. No more searching high and low, I got the best deal. TireRack has thousands of recommended installers. I chose a mobile installer. They brought the tires to my neck of the woods and put them on, right here in my driveway.
You're all done.
Thank you. When it's time for new tires, trust the experts. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.